3 parts. There are 18 chapters in the entire Gita, and these 18 can be divided into sections of 3 chapters each. So the first 6 chapters pertain especially to duty, karma taking the meaning to be activity which is recommended, which is advised that we perform in the Vedic scriptures. Those activities which will promote the living entity to higher statuses. So that is the concern, the main concern of chapters 1 through 6. Then chapters 7 through 12, the main focus there is Bhakti Yoga. Not to say that other chapters in the Gita don't mention Bhakti Yoga, but chapters 7 through 12 are especially emphasizing Bhakti Yoga over anything else. Then chapters 13 to 18, they are especially aimed at the Gyanis, the philosophical thinking type persons, intellectuals. So actually the whole Bhagavad Gita is meant to bring us to the path of bhakti, to pure devotion to Krishna. But the construction of the Gita recognizes that there are different mentalities. And so there is something for those who are inclined to the path of karma, something for those who are inclined to the path of jnana. But what is the most important section of the Bhagavad Gita? My spiritual master Srila Prabhupada used to sometimes compare the Bhagavad Gita to a sandwich. It's the middle part that is most important. So that is bhakti. But for today, we are going to be looking at chapter 13, which is called Nature, the Enjoyer and Consciousness. This is sometimes said to be the most philosophical chapter of the whole Gita. And this is in the beginning of the section which is more intended for those of philosophical mindset. So nature, the enjoyer and consciousness. And today we are looking at text 27 of chapter 13, that's on the board here. We can repeat this together, I'll recite it, and you can recite after me these 4 lines, one after the other. Yavat sanjayate kinchit Sattvam stavara jangamam Chitra gyat samyogat Tadvidhi paratarshava Yavat sanjayate kinchit Sattvam stavara jangamam Chitra gyasam yogat Tadvidhi paratarshava Yavat sanjayate kinchit Sattvam stavara jangamam Chitra gyatsam yogat Tadvidhi bharatarshava
Yavat sanjayate kinchit Sattvam stavara jangamam Kshetra samyoga Tadvidhi bharatarshava
Yavat sanjayate kinchit Sattvam stavara jangamam Kshetra samyoga Tadvidhi bharatarshava
Yavat Yavat sanjayate kinchit
Yavat sanjayate kinchit
Sattvam sthavara sangamam
Sattvam sthavara jangamam
Kshetra kshetrakya samyogat
Kshetra kshetraya samyogat
Tadvidhi paradarshava
Tadvidhi paradarshava
Yavat, whatever, Sanjayate
comes
into being. Kinchit, anything. Sattvam, existence. Stavara, not moving. Jangamam, moving. Chetra, of the body. Chetragya, and the knower of the body. Samyogat, by the union between. Tat vidhi, you must know it. Bharata Rishabha, O chief of the Bharatas. Translation and purport. By His Divine Grace, Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. O chief of the Bharatas, know that whatever you see in existence, both the moving and the non-moving, is only a combination of the field of activities and the knower of the field. Purport. Both material nature and the living entity which were existing before the creation of the cosmos are explained in this verse. Whatever is created is but a combination of the living entity and material nature. There are many manifestations like trees, mountains and hills which are not moving, and there are many existences which are moving. And all of them are but a combination, or are but combinations of material nature and the superior nature of the living entity. Without the touch of the superior nature, the living entity, nothing can grow. The relationship between material nature and spiritual nature is eternally going on, and this combination is effected by the Supreme Lord. Therefore, He is the controller of both the superior and inferior natures. The material nature is created by Him, and the superior nature is placed in this material nature, and thus all these activities and manifestations take place. Once more the verse reads, Yavat sanjayate kinchit sattvam stavara jangamam chetra chetragya samyogat tadvidi bharatarshava. O chief of the Bharatas, know that whatever you see in existence, both the moving and the non-moving, is only a combination of the field of activities and the knower of the field. Mukam karoti bhajalam mangamunayate grimet pipitanam mande shri guru nititaranam paramanandam. Srila Prabhupada, in another purport, he cites a Vedic statement, Bhoktya bhogyam prerataram cha matvam savam proktam tri vidhim etat, tri vidhim brahmanitat. So, as the Vedas say, Sarvam Kalu Idam Brahman. Everything is Brahman, but in this citation I just gave you, the Vedas also say that Brahman is not monolithic, it is not one undifferentiated thing. There is a class, of course, of philosophers known as impersonalists or Mayavadis, and they speak of Brahman and they mean that Brahman is undifferentiated. It is one impersonal truth that has no distinctions within it. This is called nirvishesh. The word vishesh means characteristics. And we can talk about a characteristic of a person that we know. That this person is very jolly. He likes to joke a lot. That's his characteristic. And someone else is very handsome, very good looking. That's his characteristic. So these are personal qualities, visheshas. So this nirvishesha Brahman idea is that the Absolute Truth has no personal qualities at all. No quality, characteristic, anything. It is more or less void. They admit that there's consciousness there, consciousness of self, I, but when one attains that state, then you just merge into that one I, and you cease to exist as an independent entity. There's no relationship in that Brahman. There's only oneness. So anyway, this is the impersonal explanation of Brahman, but it is not in accordance with the Vedas. Of course, some Vedic statements seem to affirm this Nirvishesha point of view, because actually the Vedic philosophy is Veda Abheda Tattva. That you will find in some portions of the Vedas do indicate that everything is Abheda, not different. But then there are other statements that emphasize Bheda. There is difference in the absolute truth. So in this statement, Tri Vidim Brahmani Tat. Within Brahman there are three features. And these three features are the Supreme Controller, Prerata. Means he who is the Ishvara, the controller of all. Then there is the conscious living entity. In this verse, Chitra Gya. Gya means knower. And then that which is the object of consciousness, that of which we are aware. This is called in this verse by Lord Krishna, Chitra, the field. So these are the three aspects of Brahman. Now here we are as knowers. This is our field of knowledge around us. Actually it means this body, first of all. Actually even before, what to first speak of the physical, gross body, there is the mental body, the mind. And this is the first object of knowledge. We experience the moods of the mind. We experience happiness. We experience distress. So that is also within the field of experience. That is the aspect of the field that seems closest to us because it is most subtle. And then beyond that, this experience of mind and its different states. Then we have the experiences of this body, the senses of the body, and then the world beyond. So that is all called Chaitra, and we are Chaitragya, we are the knowers. So that knowing essence is the soul, Atma. And then these two, knower and field of knowledge, are under the direction of the Supreme Lord. As Srila Prabhupada writes here very nicely in his purport, the relationship between material nature and spiritual nature is eternally going on, and this combination is effected by the Supreme Lord. Therefore, he is the controller of both the superior and inferior natures. So we have been placed within this field by the Supreme Lord. And he's doing that to facilitate our desires. The Lord is within also this Chaitra, but he is transcendental. He is there to help us as the witness, as the Antaryami, the inner ruler, Upadrashta, overseer, Anumanta, permitter. And so he is observing our desires. Actually, our desires are mostly mysterious even to us, because there is an aspect of the mind which is beneath our awareness. We have our surface aware mind, but there is the what is called Karana Deha, the causal body, the root of the mind. You can compare it to, like in a house, there's a basement. And all the things that we don't need right now, but we may need sometime, are stored in the basement. So in the basement of the mind, which is called Karana Deha, the causal body, all of the desires are there. stacked up against the wall in so many boxes. And mostly these desires are not, we're not acting on them. There's so many desires. They have been implanted in that cellar, that basement of the heart. In every lifetime we have ever experienced. We have been in this material world for millions and millions of lifetimes. It is quite likely that our material existence extends even before the creation of this universe. Because universes are created and destroyed with the breathing in and breathing out of Mahavishnu. So as long as we have material desires, this is where we will appear. Body after body after body, life after life after life, and perhaps even universe after universe after universe. So in every life, desires and experiences and memories, all of that is stored away in the subconscious mind. And then the subconscious experiences and desires and so on, they're called vasana. They flow into the conscious mind. And then we have to act on these desires. And this keeps the cycle of birth and death going. As long as we have material desires, we have to take birth again. So this is why the Lord puts us here, because it is simply what we desire. Now the Lord is with us in the heart. He is there making Himself available for us to turn to Him at any time and surrender to Him completely. And then when we do that, we are freed from our material desires, because this is Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness, it entails two things: self-realization and God-realization. So self-realization means the purification of the entire field of consciousness, including this subconscious aspect. At the state of pure Krishna consciousness, one becomes aware of every nook and cranny of his being. A light is shown everywhere, even in these secret hidden desires. Everything is seen. And one can see the relation of all that to the absolute truth, to Krishna. Because the interesting thing is that whatever we may desire, whether it is in this world considered good or bad, it has its ultimate origin in God. God is absolute. That means He is beyond good and evil. That duality does not apply to Him. So we see in Krishna's Leela, this is one of the problems in understanding Krishna. Krishna has been abused. Of course, no one can abuse Krishna, but anyway, they try to abuse Him. The academicians, those who think that they're intelligent but actually are not. And they look at the figure of Krishna and they find that it is very contradictory, Krishna's Leela or pastimes. Sometimes He's doing something that would be expected of a spiritual leader, spiritual teacher, like speaking this Bhagavad Gita. That's very nice, they think. Yes, Bhagavad Gita is a very good text, everyone recognizes that. But then Krishna is doing other things. It seems He steals other men's wives, takes them into the forest and dances with them. And He killed his own uncle, Kamsa. And anyway, He's done so many things. Even once He killed a bull, Aristasura. It was a demon in the form of a bull. But because he did that, He killed a bull. Even the gopis of Vrindavan said, "We can't associate with you. You've killed a cow." In India, among the Hindus, to kill a cow is a great, great sin. So even the gopis were saying to Krishna, "Oh, now we can't associate with you. You killed a cow." So, but you see, these difficulties in understanding Krishna They arise because we are trying to understand him from our material point of view. Our position here in this realm of duality, of good versus evil and light versus darkness. But actually Krishna and his activities are transcendental to that. God is God. God is the supreme. And so God does what he likes. And whatever God does is perfect. God's ideas, his opinions, Krishna has a name, Satya Sankalpa. It's a very wonderful name. Sankalpa means like thought in Sanskrit. Thought or opinion or idea. So everybody has their ideas, but that, and sometimes we insist in conversations to others, I have the right idea, but it's not necessarily the right idea. The other person has a different idea. Everyone has so many ideas. It doesn't mean that our ideas have any real substance. We may be very attached to them. But Krishna is Satya Sankalpa. His idea, his thought, that is Satya, that means reality. The reality is God's mind, what God thinks. He sets the standard for everyone else. So, therefore, those who are devotees of Krishna, they glorify Krishna. This is what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. This is the symptom of the Mahatmas. The great souls, those who are actually God conscious, Satatam Kirtayantamam, they are always glorifying me. Glorifying all of Krishna's activities. He has the name Makanchor. It means he likes to steal butter. Now in the material world, a chor, to use that Sanskrit or it's also a Hindi word, means thief. And thief should be put in jail. And here we are worshipping a God who is a thief. But actually his thieving is his mercy. Chittahari. Chittahari. Hari also means thief. It's the name of Krishna that means thief. And Chitta means consciousness. Whatever Krishna is doing is meant to steal our consciousness away from this Maya, this illusion. You see? So until, this is the point, until we surrender to Krishna completely, then our consciousness is being stolen by Maya. Now Krishna, as I said, Satya. He is the supreme truth. And Maya is illusion. And here's our little individual consciousness. So if we lean towards Maya, then our consciousness is stolen by Maya. And that means for us that we have to again and again and again take birth in this material world, undergo birth, death, disease, old age. Now there's something wonderful about this chapter, nature and enjoyer and consciousness. As I said, it is aimed at philosophical thinking people. So Krishna here is speaking of his material and spiritual energies and the interplay between the two. But behind this, there's a deeper truth. We find in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Guna Vyaktiriyam Devi, Vyanjago Guna Bhugbavam. There's a verse that explains that this soul and the material energy which is encasing the soul, they're actually manifestations of Sri Sri Lakshmi Narayan or Radha and Krishna. So as I said, Krishna is in the heart, is Paramatma, and we are his Amsa, we are his tiny aspect, individual, personal aspect, Jiva Atma. Always together with the Paramatma, the Supreme Soul. And the Lord, wherever he goes, his consort, Lakshmi, his feminine divine energy is also there. So she manifests as the mind, and as the senses, and as the body, in other words, as the field of activities. So in actual fact, this field of activities is also ultimately spiritual. It appears as material because, as I said, we have material desires, which means our consciousness is flowing in the wrong direction, away from Krishna. So if our consciousness flows back to Krishna, then the vision of everything changes from material to spiritual. Yam hi prakriti shukshma maya shaktir dadatyeya. This is a verse from a verse which is addressing Lakshmi Narayan in the 6th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So it states, Iyam hi prakriti shukshma. She is the shukshma prakriti. This means this spiritual nature. But at the same time, maya shaktir, duratyaya. Krishna uses this same phrase. Duratyaya. That maya is very difficult to overcome. So this is the other feature of the same Lakshmi, the same divine potency of Krishna. So actually, what we are being taught here is transformation. Transformation. This Bhagavad Gita philosophy, the Vaishnava philosophy, is a philosophy of transformation. That spirit, by God's grace, because this is the important, what we need to understand from these three that I was explaining. There is a soul, there is a Chaitra, the field of activities, and the Lord above. So because He is the supreme controller, that material field of activities He can transform to a spiritual field of activities. In the 4th chapter of Gita, Brahmarpanam Brahmahavir Brahmagnau Brahmanaha Utam Brahmaivatena Gantavya Brahma Karma Samadhina. Lord Krishna says, if we take up Brahma Karma, which means spiritual activities, He's describing that everything becomes transformed. Everything that we engage in Brahma Karma, activities of devotional service to the Lord, they become transformed, including this body, including the objects of the senses, including all of our work. Everything, he says, rises up to the absolute platform. So this is transformation. This is the science of bhakti. Later, of course, all of you know, I think most of you are regular guests here, so feast will be served. This feast, this prasadam, is transformed. We start off with ordinary potato, ordinary butter, ordinary wheat, ordinary rice, and these types of ingredients. These are things from this world, this field, material field. But they're prepared in Krishna consciousness, they're offered to Krishna according to the directions of the Shastra, the scriptures. And the Lord transforms them from material bhoga, ordinary food, to prasadam. By taking prasadam, one is liberated. You see, this kind of eating is a transformed activity. Actually, Krishna mentions in the 3rd chapter, if we don't offer our food to Him, then whatever we eat, that is creating more karma. Even if one is a vegetarian, even if one is a vegan, that's people today consider vegan, do we have a vegan diet that's very pure? No, sorry. Even your vegan foods are pervaded with countless microorganisms, and you can't do anything about it. You can wash your nice vegan food as much as you want. keep it under the tap for 1.5 hours.
Voidaan pitää vegani ruokaa.
But when you remove it, it will still be covered by millions of microorganisms.
Se poistaa siitä.
And when you eat, they will be crushed between your teeth.
Ja kun syödään, niin ne kaikki...
Your vegan lunch will be a holocaust. Millions of living entities will give up their life so that you can fill your belly. And you have to pay for that. This is where we are right now. We're in the material world. Nothing is free here. There's that saying from Hollywood, because Hollywood is that's where they make the movies, but it's famous as a very rapacious, there's so many sharks in the water there. So there's a saying in Hollywood, there's no such thing as a free lunch, which means there's nothing for free here. You want something, you have to give something, you see. And that's the material world, nothing free here. So, we have to pay if we have caused suffering to others, even if it's a tiny little microorganism. We have to pay for that. And that means you have to take birth again. So this is going on. So the only way to become free of this strict law of karma is to surrender everything, body, mind, activities, to Krishna. And He is the Ishvara, He is the controller, He is the Lord. So then He affects this transformation from material to spiritual. There's only one, you can hear about so many different yoga systems, but there's only one yoga system where this transformation takes place, and that is Bhakti Yoga. Because Bhakti Yoga is worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As the Vedas say, Parasya Shaktir Vividhaya Shruyate. That God is known because He is the controller of all energies. That is God. You find the one who controls all the energies of this cosmos. That is the Supreme Lord. And so He has that power. Also in the Svetasvatara Upanishad. Yes, the material energy is called Maya, but God is called Mayin. Maya means magic, Mayin means magician. So you've seen magicians, I'm sure. They pull rabbits out of hats and all that sort of thing. They do. Open their coat and a dove flies out. And we're all amazed. But that's His power. And see, He knows how to do these things. So that's God. He has magical power over everything in this universe. So He effects this transformation. Everything is His energy. That means everything is originally spiritual. And this is therefore the only way to go back home, back to God, is by this transformation of our activities, of our consciousness, by the grace of Krishna. All right then. Would there be any questions? Yes.
Could you elaborate about the grace of Krishna, because it's so lucid concept? What does it mean, grace of Krishna?
He wants to know, what does it mean, the grace of Krishna? Yes, so I'll just give a very simple example that Srila Prabhupada gave. That our position is we are bound up by material nature. There's this word guna, which means the qualities of material nature. There are three ultimate qualities, sattva, rajas, tamas. Three modes are the three gunas. But another dictionary translation of the word guna besides mode of nature is rope. So we are bound up by these ropes of nature. Hand and foot. Hand and foot, like the arms tied up behind the back. So then how will you get free? Being tied up like that. Only by the grace of he who is free.
Vain sen armosta, joka on vapaa.
So Krishna, he unties the ropes of bondage
Krishna.
from his devotee. Teshamivanu kampartam aham jnana jamtamam. Krishna says, Tesham, for them who are my devotees, in the 10th chapter. And by my mercy, I destroy the darkness in their hearts.
Minä tuhoan heidän sydäntään peittävät pimeyden.
So this is Krishna's grace.
Tämä on Krishnan armo.
So Krishna, he spreads this mercy in the world. Of course, by his own appearance, his own personal appearance.
Ilmestyessään itsestään.
As when he came 5,000 years ago, or 500 years ago, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
5000 vuotta sitten tai 500 vuotta sitten.
But he offers his grace by way of Sri Guru Parampara, the disciplic succession, his bona fide representative, the spiritual master. These Shastras, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, they are also the mercy of Krishna. The association of devotees is also Krishna Kripa, Krishna's grace. The Sankirtan movement, the spreading of the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. This is Krishna's grace, Lord Chaitanya's grace. So, the grace of the Lord is broadly available in this world today. Now it's a question of up to us whether we will take it. That is our little power. We have our own little power. We are samples of God, Srila Prabhupada said. So God is all powerful. We are not all powerful, but we have a little power, and that power is called Tatastha Shakti. So Tata, the word Tata in Sanskrit, it means a borderline, like the borderline, like on the edge of a river. On one side of the line there's land, on the other side there's water. And sometimes the water is, coming up. The river surges over its banks in the rainy season. And sometimes then in the hot season it dries and the water goes down and there's more land. So this is where we are, Tatastha Shakti, marginal potency. So we have the power to choose. So here before us there is this manifestation of Krishna's grace, this opportunity to take up devotional service to the Lord. And of course, there is also the opportunity to remain in illusion. The choice is ours. And as I said, the wonderful thing is that in either case it is Krishna's own energy which is reciprocated. This morning we were talking about that. Sometimes it's puzzling. You read in the scriptures. I was reading the other day a statement talking about this mind, material mind. This is part of the field of activities. So there's a verse in the Bhagavatam that's explaining that the mind is very powerful, so very dangerous for us if we do not control the mind. Mind is very powerful, and yet the same verse says the mind is not real. And then you wonder, wait a minute. How can the mind be powerful and not be real? So the answer is that the mind is actually spiritual nature. But just like an actor, everything is Krishna's Leela. Leela means pastime, Leela means play. It's the Lord's own drama. And so his energies play different parts, just like actors. So the actor is real, but the part he plays may not be real. It's like very good actors. A very good male actor can dress up like a woman and act and talk like a woman, and you think it's a woman. And similarly, very good female actors can dress up like men and act like men, and you think it's a man. But the actor is real, but that role, you see, that's not a real woman, that's not a real man. You understand what I'm saying? The person is real behind, but the role is not real. So this is, you see, ultimately, everything is only spiritual. Sarvam kalvidam brahma. Everything is actually spiritual nature only. But this is the Lord's lila. So the Lord's energies take up different roles. Some of these roles are not real, but still powerful. You understand what I'm saying? And that is up to our choice. So if we choose, no, I don't want to surrender to Krishna, then we, see, Krishna's energies will still be there, but playing a different role for us. Tragedy, melodrama. That type of drama that doesn't have a happy ending. That's what we will be forced to watch. And that's all we're really doing. We're just watching. The soul is just sitting in the heart watching everything. Otherwise, we're not really involved with this. But we want our desire. We have desires and we would like them to be fulfilled. And so this drama is enticing us. Yes, here you can fulfill your desires, but they don't. We're just disappointed again and again. So Krishna's grace, He delivers us from that. And by His grace, then we can come into His own. The lila, the drama, the play that Krishna Himself likes. He enjoys. This material lila, Krishna isn't enjoying. He manifests it, but it's for us. He doesn't enjoy that. What He enjoys is His own transcendental lila. So by His grace, we can be promoted to that. So I'm going to stop here. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.